welcome to the Do Not Disturb Football Podcast. We are your hosts here. I am Drew in the blue jersey. That is Nimmer. And in the maroon, that is Darian. This is the Do Not Disturb Football Podcast where football is forever. Make sure you are liking, following, subscribing. We are on X, Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube. We should be going live on both YouTube and TikTok right now. Hello, hello. Let's get it to you guys. How was your weekend? I'll start with you, Nimmer. How was Utah, and how are you feeling today?
Good. Utah was fun. There's a lot of things I didn't think. I think that Utah was very straight edge, not really too much drinking. But we went to this really cool bar that had like virtual golf. They actually had rugby, which was really cool, where you can like kick the rugby ball between like a net or something like that, and like sensors. So that was really fun. And this weekend was really nice. Unfortunately, I was unable to really get to watch too many games. We ended up going up north, and what were the there's some trees in Arizona. The name eludes me, but it was like the only time we actually got to see fall colors in Arizona. So that was fun. But speaking of football, it was nice. I won 3 out of the 4 fantasy leagues. The one loss that I got was to my girlfriend. So I was playing Alejandra this week and ended up losing. It was my only loss for this week, so that sucked. But the Steelers ended up blowing out the Raiders. Shout out Carlos and all my other Raider friends, Ty, Richard, all of them. So it was fun, especially since I'm from that area. So there's a bunch of Raider fans that I was able to talk a little crap to. So um, overall, it was a really good weekend, and back missed you guys, missed the show. Thanks for holding down the fort while I was gone.
As always, Darian, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Um, over the weekend, Saturday didn't really do too much. Watched a couple of the college football games. Really was just blown away by Texas throttling Oklahoma. Uh, it's kind of expected, to be honest, this year at least. But that was one of the reasons why we were still at home Saturday, because we were like, we're not going to go to the state fair because the Cotton Bowl was on the fairgrounds, and we live about 15 minutes from the fairgrounds, and we were like, it's going to be a hot mess on Saturday. Drunk fans, disorderly folks, then going into the fair. Nah, not my cup of tea. So we ended up going on Sunday, which was pretty fun. We tried some uh, pretty eccentric new foods that were there. There was like fried sushi. We tried that. I had to get myself some chicken livers, fried chicken livers, which were honestly one of my favorite of the day. Sam wanted pickle lemonade, which was her fucking shit. She was raving about it for the past 2 days. She wishes that she could have that on tap. But I think the best thing that we had were these Amish old traditional style donuts. They were killer. Like they were over the top good. And then we tried these sopapillas that were just horrible compared to the Amish donut. So a lot of fun just being at the fairground. Had to get my turkey leg going, but outside of that was just watching some football after that.
Boy, it sounds like you had a good weekend. So
Yep.
for me, I did a lot of different things this weekend. I went to the movies on Friday. Saturday, I watched the Ohio State and Oregon game. That was a great game to watch. And Sunday, I watched football all day, and I had my 1 year anniversary yesterday. We went to this Treetops restaurant that is like an hour and 20 minutes from my house, I think in the south direction. I could be wrong, but um, it was it was funny because we booked this reservation a while ago, and I couldn't remember what the price was. I kind of had an idea, and Sammy had an idea, and we were not on the right. She thought it was a lot cheaper than it was going to actually be. I had a feeling it was going to be very expensive. I got a nice. It was called a apple butter old fashioned. It was delicious.
Ooh.
The ice cubes had designs in it, and I said, "Oh my god, I'm about to pay so much money," but it was.
$25 cocktail right there.
It was
because
really
of
ice
ice.
is $25.
it was really good though. And then the tree. So this Treetops restaurant, you go. It's there's a artist out here. I think he's dead now. His name is Frank Lloyd Wright. He designs a bunch of houses, and they're really like cool and eccentric. And if that's your thing, you'd love that. People here in Pennsylvania love it. I'm pretty new to it, so I didn't really know too much about it. But this Treetops restaurant, you get there and there's a bar to meet you there. Then there's this walkway, and once you get to the walkway, you see these private tree houses all along the little bridge that they have set up. So everyone sits in a private tree house, and that's where you have your dinner or your brunch or whatever time of the day is.
Mhm.
So that's what we did, and it was beautiful. It was pretty cold. There was like barely any heating in the tree house, so I was like, "Oh, this was a mistake." but the food was really good. It was a good time.
No, that's awesome. Happy anniversary again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary. Welcome to the East Coast. I feel like we're so used to. I mean, you were, in Tucson, so the whole coldest it gets is like 70s. So,
Even
East Coast.
Even
is
my
cold.
house is like getting really cold. We've been fighting like not to turn on the heater yet, and we just turned it on
Just
today
wait,
because I was
buddy.
like, it's so cold.
Has it snowed yet
but-
or no?
No, but it's like the high's been in the 50s, mid 50s. So
God.
yeah, it's been really cold. It's crazy because I hear people from Arizona. They're like, yeah, we just hit 100 for the 70th day in a row,
I
and
think
I'm
it
like, well, I
just
guess,
went below triple digits this week. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
yeah, I guess I'd rather have this, but it's pretty cold.
Yeah, just wait, Drew. Just wait. Wait till like late November, December
Yeah.
Oh
hits.
my God.
and
It's gonna
January.
be a huge adjustment. I don't know if I'm ready for it.
Load up on blankets, my guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. I'm wearing this jacket right now because I'm just freezing.
Just wait
But-
till the snow too, where it's like, oh my God, that's gonna be crazy. That should be.
It's
fun,
funny.
though.
I've heard that the winters aren't as bad as they used to be here in Pittsburgh. I guess that's global warming or something. I don't know, but I guess it's more of a wet winter. So just like rainy all the time and cold and windy. So
That sucks.
sounds awesome. But uh,
I'd much
a
rather
little bit
it
of
snow than freaking rain. I hate.
Yeah,
rain. It's one of the
Mhm.
worst
It's
things.
there's gonna be snow too. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If I end up going missing, it's probably because I froze my car or something. um, let's get into the injury report. We have quite a few names on the injury report today. Before we can get into the big news, we had a lot of big news happen today. The injury report. So we have Cardinals wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. He suffered a concussion in Sunday's matchup. He is questionable for this weekend. The Bills running back James Cook, he is questionable with a turf toe injury. I've heard that he's expected to play this weekend, but I don't know how much I believe that. Browns running back Jerome Ford is questionable with a hamstring injury. Nick Chubb is expected to make his debut this weekend against the Bengals. Broncos wide receiver Josh Reynolds fractured his finger. He is now on injured reserve. Packers wide receiver Dontavian Wicks is questionable with a shoulder injury. Jaden Reed is also questionable, but no injury was listed, which I thought was weird. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor is listed as questionable with that ankle injury still. Quarterback Anthony Richardson is reportedly going to make his return this weekend against the Dolphins. Jaguars running back Travis Etienne is doubtful with a hamstring injury. Raiders running back Zamir White is questionable with a groin injury still. Wide receiver Jacoby Myers is also questionable for the Raiders. Chargers tight end Hayden Hurst is questionable with a groin injury. Gus Edwards was placed on injured reserve with an ankle injury. Cooper Kupp is questionable. There's some hope that he's going to play, but it's still very much up in the air. Their other wide receiver, Jordan Whittington, is questionable with a shoulder injury. Vikings running back Aaron Jones was spotted at practice today practicing. He's still considered questionable, though. Patriots running back Ramondre Stevenson is listed as questionable. Saints running back Alvin Kamara is listed as questionable with a hand injury. He was limited to practice, so that's a good sign. Taysom Hill is listed as questionable with a rib injury. Olave is questionable with a concussion. Derek Carr is doubtful for Thursday's game against the Broncos. Rashid Shaheed is questionable with a knee injury, so they got a lot of injuries going on in New Orleans. Giants, Devin Singletary, Malik Neighbors are both questionable, and their best lineman, Andrew Thomas, their left tackle, is reportedly exploring season-ending surgery on his foot. So that's tough news for Andrew Thomas there. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert is listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. 49ers running back Jordan Mason is questionable with a shoulder injury. Tampa's Rashad White is still listed as questionable. Titans Tajay Spears is listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. And Commanders running back Brian Robinson Jr. is listed as questionable.
Jeez.
So quite a few injuries still
Only
going
week
on.
6. That's insane.
But let's get into the week 6 reaction first. I know Nimmer said you said that you didn't watch a ton of games, but I wanted to see what your guys' reaction was to the games that were played over the weekend. Darian, I'll start with you.
Man, just to start off with the 8:30 a.m. game, the Jags and Bears. Oh my God, that was horrible to watch. The Jags, for one, look bad. The drop TDs from Gabe Davis, who dropped 2, and then Brian Thomas, who dropped 1, is bad. It's a bad look for Trevor. It's a bad look for all y'all. And then my boy Etienne. Failing me yet again. Negative, like what, 0.1 points?
Yeah.
Golly, man. What are we doing? But but the Bears look damn good. Swift's popping off. I loved watching the Bears offense. Caleb still holding on to the ball a little too long, but everyone was getting fed. Komet was popping off. Adunze was getting touches. Keenan Allen came out of fucking nowhere, showed up. And then there's DJ Moore, who didn't get but 6 points. So my boys did me dirty. I was upset, but overall, most of the games were fun to watch. Outside of that one, the Commanders playing a pretty good game against the Ravens. It's kind of what you were hoping for, but overall, I think it was a jam-packed weekend of football. But yeah, highlight Jags Bears was the worst game to watch because both teams looked bad at first and then just turned it on. But
some of the notes from the other games: the Buccaneers put 50 points up on the Saints. Jordan Love threw 4 touchdowns against the Cardinals. There was a weird close game between the Eagles and the Browns. And then you had Monday night with the Jets and the Bills in a close game. Nimber, do you have any reactions?
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly one of the good weekends to not watch just because there's so many blowouts. It didn't even look like – I think there's only one score game, and that was the Colts and the Titans. So, I mean, it wasn't even like an exciting game or, you know, two exciting teams. But that being said, I was really surprised about the Bucs just completely demolishing the Saints and then the Lions just bending over the Cowboys. I think those were the 2 biggest surprises when I came back from the 10-mile hike that we did. Looking at the scores, it was a long
47-9, bro. That's crazy work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I expected both the Bucs and the Lions to win, but I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, that big of a gap. But that being said, it was kind of cool because I think most of the favorites won. Like I think for the pick'ems, I got 2 wrong because of the Jets. But Sunday I only got the Broncos wrong. Drew, I think you went undefeated. No,
Yep.
You got 1 wrong or
14-0.
14-0. You and Sammy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So like it was good, especially like with betting and stuff like that. So yeah, that aspect it was really nice because the teams that should have won, but I just didn't think it was gonna be that many blowouts. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting weekend. It was interesting to see 14-0. When I looked at the picks that I made, I was like, oh man, I got them all right. Same as she at first had the Broncos winning, and I was like, Sammy, no. I was like, it's
I don't know
not
why
going
I
to be a
picked the
good game.
Broncos.
They almost came back and made a little bit of a game out of it at the end.
Yeah, but looking back at it, I mean, the Chargers came off a bye. You know, it was just I don't know. I don't know what I was doing.
Sammy is in first place in the Pick'em League. She's up 3 games. I am right behind Nimmer. I am down 1 game from Nimmer, and Nimmer's down 3. I'm down 4 in the second and third spots. But
yeah, I'm down there at the bottom.
Yeah, Darian forgot to put his picks in last week, so he's kind of irrelevant in the Pick'em League now.
I just owe somebody money.
Let's do the big breaking news that came out of New York today. If you watched the Pat McAfee show, you saw Davante Adams join that show with Aaron Rodgers immediately after this news came out. Davante Adams is traded to the New York Jets. So, man, I thought that coming into the weekend that he wasn't going to be on the move anymore. There was a report that there was really no phone calls being made. And I'm assuming as soon as that loss happened for the Jets last night, Aaron Rodgers was like, yeah, it's time. We got to go get somebody. And you know who that is, to the Jets. And the Jets went and got Davante Adams. They get a conditional 3rd round pick. The Raiders do in return that could turn into a 2nd round pick. So I'll hear from you boys. What do you think of this trade? How does this affect the fantasy season, both for Davante and Garrett Wilson? Do you think there's a chance that the Jets now finally put it together on offense and look like a better team? Nemar, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that the Jets had issues with was red zone play. So I think that we kind of mentioned it when the rumors were kind of trickling in the air that this is going to be huge for Davante and fantasy owners with Davante, because he's going to be getting a lot of looks because they really just have been targeting Lazard. But I mean, think of this team on the drive home from work. I was thinking about it. Think about this team. You have Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, Breece Hall at running back, Davante Adams, Allen Lazard as wide receiver 3, and then Garrett Wilson and Davante Adams, which is wide receiver A and wide receiver B. Like, that's a stacked offense. They definitely need to, perform as well as they are. It's like an all-star team. So I think that the Jets are looking really, really good, and I think that things are going to turn around. They're actually my hot take. So.
Yeah, they have a good defense too. Even more dirt for me when they don't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, because now you have an even more stacked team. So can't wait to see how this plays out. Darian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of a red herring there, putting up the Edgar Allan Poe picture. Maybe the Ravens were the true talker at first, but we all knew in the back of our minds that Aaron Rodgers had his finger ready on that button with Woody Johnson, hey, we got to get him. Let all this hoopla go around. We're getting him regardless. So we all knew he was going to be a Jet. He wanted to revive that relationship with Aaron Rodgers. I think it's definitely a good move for the Jets. It's going to free up a lot more opportunities for Garrett. I think his stock actually increased. That being said, dishing out the ball. I mean, I think Garrett had 23 targets against Minnesota and then followed up yesterday with 10. So he's still going to get some healthy amount. He may take a dip obviously, in some targets just to distribute the ball. But I think it's going to be healthier plays, and he's going to have more drawn out plays for him to get across the middle of the field where Devontae is going to have that pressing like two-man coverage. So I think Garrett Wilson's stock increased as well as Devontae Adams now that he has a competent QB thrown to him. So
why couldn't they wait one more week? Like, why do they have to trade him while they're going to play the Steelers on Sunday night? Like, come on, really? Like,
yeah, and when I play Hook, who I traded Devontae to.
Oh,
so
yeah, but I was thinking about that too. So you traded Devontae Adams and Stevenson for AJ Brown, right?
Yep.
So it's like you really just traded Devontae Adams for AJ Brown, which isn't really that bad of a trade to make you feel better.
Yeah. I got one good game out of AJ. Now I got
yeah, but I mean, it's still the season's still young. Young.
And I think Hook only had one good game out of Devontae because then he went out on injury and then held out. So
yeah,
it's a fair trade.
Do you think the hamstring is really going to affect him? Devontae Adams' injury.
That dude was in New York this entire time.
Yeah, the fact that he's already in the building is wild.
Yeah.
They have relatively, other than the Steelers and the Texans, they have relatively an easy schedule for this next couple games. They have Steelers, Patriots, Texans, Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks. So all those games are games that they could probably win. It is going to be interesting to see. I know that Devontae and Rodgers have talked about how Rodgers will pull out some word that he used in the 2012 12th game of the season, regular season game, and Devontae knows what that word means, and he runs that route. So it'll be interesting to see how this looks, how this offense will look. I'm sure it's a very similar offense to what Devontae's used to in Green Bay. So I kind of expect them to ignite pretty fast. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll have a lot of open looks for Garrett Wilson too. So, and it should also open up the run game for Brees. So hopefully this is a step forward for the Jets, but I ultimately think they're going to fall short. So
do you think that Aaron Rodgers fantasy stock will go up?
I do. I would pick him up. He's on the waivers in a lot of spots. He just put up one of his better games in fantasy. I'd go ahead and pick him up. If he's your QB2 and can take that QB1 spot in a couple weeks, I think it's a good move.
Hopefully their connection, is a little rusty for at least a week. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Don't think that's going to happen, but, wishful thinking.
Let's get into the other trade that happened today. Amari Cooper traded to the Bills. So if you tuned into our show last week, that was my buy low trade target. I said I would trade for him now because I think he could be traded to either the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Cowboys. And I said it in that order. And here we are today. He is a Buffalo Bill. So if you didn't trade for him, it's probably too late now. He's going to be the number one threat on that offense, you would think. The Browns get a 3rd and a 7th round pick in return. And I heard that the Bills are only paying just over $1 million for Amari Cooper. So I don't know what we're doing. I feel like everyone and their mom should have been trading for Amari Cooper if that was the price. But what is your reaction to this, Darian?
I mean, when you told me that, where he's only getting, but the Bills are only paying $1 million and they gave up a 3rd and a 7th, like, bro, so many teams could have been dealing for him. And like Amari's proven to be a consistent wide receiver in this league. Why wouldn't you go after him? And I think now his value in stock has just skyrocketed, especially when you have Josh Allen throwing you the ball. Like, I mean, you have the most significant upgrade, I would say, in NFL history there, going from Deshaun Watson to Josh Allen. Like, I'm happy days if I'm Amari Cooper and I think it now solidifies the wide receiver room for the Bills. You have Keon, you have Curtis Samuel, Shakur, who could be back, and then you have Amari Cooper. If I'm Josh Allen, I'm happy days. Now, I mean, even I think Ray Davis did pretty well too with James Cook being out. So you know the system is healthy, and you know that people can produce in it. So I'd be happy as all hell if I'm Josh Allen. So, yeah, I don't know why other teams didn't deal for him. I think you missed out on a really great player.
Never, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I think. I mean, obviously, Amari Cooper is getting up there in age, but I don't. He, like Darian said, he's really proven himself and really proven that he is a top 20 wide receiver in the league. One thing that people aren't really talking about is this is rather than this year, just having that veteran wide receiver in that wide receiver room, because most of the wide receivers in that room are really, really young. So the fact that Amari Cooper, a veteran receiver that's been through different quarterbacks and all that type of stuff, like knows the game with the ins and outs of the game and stuff like that, just more of like a teaching moment, mentor moment to the younger wide receivers. Because if you think about it, this is supposed to be like a rebuilding year for the Bills, but with Amari Cooper, this definitely puts them for contention into the to win the division, especially after yesterday's win. So, yeah, and I feel like Josh Allen really hasn't had a good receiver that hasn't been like a drama queen, if you will, if you call Diggs is a drama queen, or a crybaby, or whatever you want to call him. Like, I don't think Amari Cooper is pretty quiet when it comes to that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm happy for both Amari Cooper and Adams. Do we know what they got for Adams? Was it? I think it was like a third and then maybe a second if they go long. Was that it? Or I don't know.
It's a conditional third round pick for the Raiders. It could turn into a second depending on how the Jets finish the season.
Okay. Interesting.
But
So, my question is, though, in regard to Amari going to the Bills, him obviously being on the Browns, he was a buy low target. What is his value? And if you were to package something for him now, what are you offering? Like, just because now he has Josh Allen throwing to him, what is the ideal package to get Amari Cooper?
I think it'd be the same sort of value Diggs had last year there. So that was a guy that was going off the board in the first and second round in the fantasy draft. I think Amari Cooper's right there. So you're probably giving up. He's the number one by far on this team now. So you're probably giving up a really good RB2, good RB1, wide receiver 2, good RB or wide receiver 1. So it's not going to be cheap. You had to trade for him last week for sure.
Yeah.
It is interesting, to Nimmer's point. I think this is a cool fit just because you have similar route running ability to Stephon Diggs, but you don't really have the mouth anymore that Stephon Diggs provided as well. So I think it'll be fun to watch. I like Amari Cooper a lot. I can't wait to see. I think this one will probably take a little bit of time to actually start looking in sync. But once it hits, I think it'll be probably 3 or 4 weeks from now, once it starts to build up and this offense starts to look a lot more cohesive. I think Amari is going to be a big name in fantasy this year now. I think this is going to be one of those guys. If he's on your team, you're in really good shape. If he's your wide receiver 2, that's a very, very good receiver to have there in your wide receiver 2 slot. So good on Carlos.
Darian, I'm sure you already texted him, huh?
I did. I was like, hey, what's his value? And he's like, it's a lot more now that he's got Josh Allen.
He said, I did.
I was like, well, motherfucker. And he was like, "Yeah, it's not. He's not worth a bench player anymore." And I was like, "How about 2?"
That's so funny.
That's-
But yeah, those trades happened right back to back. Adams got traded to the Jets, and it looked like the Bills just pivoted and they said, "Okay, Devontae's not up for grabs anymore. We will go right to the Browns and get Amari Cooper." And I'm sure with the price that they paid, they probably already had that in place. And they told the Browns, like, let's just hold on. And then the trade went down, and then they were like, all right, we'll do it. Done deal.
It's crazy.
Two very different offenses looking forward this season. It's going to be fun to watch.
And they're in
In the
the
same
same division. Yeah.
in the same division. Yeah. So there was another big story that came out of right here in Pittsburgh today, where I'm at. Steelers are considering starting Russell Wilson versus the Jets. So this is a top 10 defense that Russ would be playing for his first game back. The first reporter that reported it, Tom Pelissero, he came out right and said Russ is going to start this weekend. And then I was kind of like, are we sure that's the news? And then Schefter came in and said, no, Mike Tomlin just said he's in consideration to start this weekend. So that's why I always roll with Schefter. Schefter's the man. But let me hear your guys' reactions to this. Do you think after starting 4-2, they're going to bench Fields and go with Russ? If they do, is this a mistake? Nimmer, since you're the Steelers fan here, I'll start with you.
I think it is. I think that they shouldn't sit Fields, even though he is 4-2. But it's not even the fact that the record or how he's performing. It's more like his leadership in the huddle. You know, I mean, This isn't like some random backup that we that essentially most teams have. But I think that because he's doing so well, he essentially should keep playing until he doesn't, essentially. But he really hasn't really been performing up to par. And I noticed that last when I this upcoming week, because we beat the Raiders 32 to something. We blew them out of the water. But that being said, Aiden O'Connor outperformed Fields. So if you take the score out and you look just at the box score, you would think that the Raiders won. He had only 145 passing yards and 0 TDs. He had, out of the 6 games, he's had 2 games more than 150 yards passing. There's 2 quarterbacks that he outperformed. Flacco, who came mid-game, and that's the game that he's threw 312 yards, and then Justin Herbert, who was hurt. All the other quarterbacks that he's played, they outperformed Fields. And then he's only thrown 2 touchdown passes in 2 out of the 6 games. So that being said, especially looking at the Steelers' schedule from now on, it's a gauntlet. I mean, we are playing, let's see, out of the 8 games, I'm not including Cincinnati or the Jets because they have losing records, but they're still good teams. We're only playing 3 out of the 8 teams that we're playing, and 2 of them are actually the Browns. So we're playing the Browns twice and the Giants. Those are the only 3 games that we have that the opposing team has a losing record. So there's no more, all right, well, this offense is bad as long as we don't turn over the ball or anything like that. We're going to have to, it's going to be shootouts from now on. So do we really think that Justin Fields can do a shootout? I don't know. But on the other hand, I don't know if Russell Wilson is also going to do a shootout. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I'd rather have Fields have the experience, have the leadership, especially when it comes to the future, because I just don't see Russ doing that much better, especially because he holds on to the ball more, and he doesn't have the running capability when the pocket closes. So that's I like Fields more than Russ, even if Russ is 100%. You got him at a cheap price. If you don't play him, you're not losing too much. You're losing what, $1 million. I would take that. I would take that loss any day if we just keep winning. So yeah, I think that they should stick to Fields.
Darren, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nimmer kind of hit it on the head there. When you have a guy who's been in the starting role, going 4-2, I don't think you replace him, especially this early on in the year. I mean, seeing where Tomlin's probably coming from, he hasn't seen the passing game being at the level that he wants it. Like Nimmer said, Fields has had 2 games where he posted over 200 yards. That was against Indianapolis, and then the week before against the Chargers. Yeah, so he was at 245 against the Chargers, 312 against Indianapolis, but every other game was 130, 150, 145, and not throwing enough TDs. So, I mean, you're looking at the expense of George Pickens, Calvin Austin, Freiermuth. They're not getting the touches they need. You're not having that diversity in your offense. They may be running pass plays, but Fields is running it on those plays. And so that's where he's getting like those rushing yards. He's getting the most fantasy points is from that mobility aspect. But I mean, as a QB standpoint, you got to have the actual dual threat. And right now, I think Fields truly only has the running threat right now. So, I mean, in Tomlin's regard, I would consider starting Russ, but at this point in time, like since you're a third of the way into the season, I think you ride with Fields, let him develop, have Russ mentor him, build him into a better QB, and then develop that pass game and go forth from there. So I think it wouldn't be wise to, have switch up right now and switch up the locker room.
Yeah, I think this would be a huge mistake by the Steelers if they were to go and start Russell Wilson. You think about how the Steelers have looked this year. That offensive line hasn't been the greatest. It looks like at times Justin Fields is kind of running for his life.
Mm-hmm.
If Russ is back there, those plays will last 0.3 seconds and Russ will be on the ground because he cannot move like Justin Fields can. These rushing touchdowns that Justin Fields provides, Russ can't do that anymore. This is not a good system for Russ to be in. This Arthur Smith system, it's not going to work for Russ. I would definitely keep going with Justin Fields. I know that this is like an experiment. It's an ongoing experiment, and we're still trying to see what it's like to have Justin Fields start a full season for you. But to me, Justin Fields hasn't gotten hurt yet. He started the season hot, has started to struggle a little bit. Really, the Cowboys game, I think, is what hurt him the most.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watch him play, there's an unpredictable factor with him. If he takes off and runs, you're trying to track down someone that can run just as fast as your DBs on the field. That, to me, is enough to keep him as the starter. I know sometimes it looks like he's struggling reading the defenses and he struggles with throwing the deep ball. I think that's the most obvious thing to me when I watch him play. He does pretty well with medium range throws and short throws, but he can't really throw the deep ball for whatever reason. He always seems like he's missing on the deep ball. And I guess maybe that's what they're thinking. Russ can throw a good deep ball, but I'm telling you that he's going to be on his back so quick. And then they're going to, what do you do? Because you're going to put Fields on the bench and then Russ will be on his back every play. And you'll be like, okay, Fields, you want to get back out there? like, what are you going to do? It makes no sense to do this. I guess, sorry.
Mhm.
I was muted.
Oh, Jesus.
This whole time?
No. When the dog started barking, I muted my mic.
Oh,
Thank you, Devin, for letting us know.
Yes, thank you. I was going
yeah.
on a rant. But nevertheless, nevertheless, I think that Fields. I forgot what I even ranted about.
Yeah. I guess Mike Tomlin didn't downplay playing both quarterbacks in Sunday's game. They asked him about that, and he didn't have an answer to it. I don't
those
think
are
he'll.
mind games, though. I don't think that.
I
I
don't.
think
He always plays a vague kind
Yeah,
of.
I don't think he would do that.
yeah, that wouldn't be smart. And then what formation would you put Russ in that you wouldn't put Fields in? I understand if Russ was starting and then you want to put Fields as like a wildcat or like that sort of thing, but I mean this isn't college. You can't just play one quarterback one drive and then play another quarterback the next drive and then like see who's hot in the first quarter and then stick with that person. Like that doesn't make that's not gonna work. So yeah.
What was the college team that ran two QBs at the same time? Was that Tulane?
Michigan. Michigan was doing that earlier this season.
Alabama
It
did that
was
last year too,
it
right?
was on one play. Both QBs were out,
Oh, I saw that play. That was a cool
and
play.
then they like did a 360. One of them caught it. One ran a route and like
Yeah,
mixed up
cool
the
play.
whole offense. Yeah, it was. They should just do that and have Fields be the running back. Take a QB draw, so to speak.
I guess Mike Tomlin said you have to keep your foot on the gas pedal in response to Russ starting. I think if you start Russ, you'll find yourself in the handicap parking spot.
Yeah, what?
Blazers
What
on,
kind of
bro.
question? I love Mike Tomlin, and a lot of the Steeler fans aren't like big fans of him and stuff. I love Mike Tomlin, but sometimes his answers are just like our head scratches. You're just like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, what does that have to do with Russ and Fields? Like, what? Like, I understand vague answers, but you just pulling like something out of left field. Like, come on, man.
He's a great coach. I love
I
Mike
love
Tomlin.
him. And for the Steeler fans that think that we should fire him, you guys are was about to
You're
cuss. You
insane.
guys are stupid.
You're insane. Yeah.
Out of all these coaches that are getting fired and they need teams are doing bad because their coaches are bad, what you think that if we fire Tomlin, that's going to help the Steelers?
You want to go on a string like the Raiders where you have a different head coach every year or 2 years
So
for the
stupid.
past 2 decades? Like, it's been a long
So
time.
dumb.
Who do you think wins the matchup Sunday night? Jets or Steelers? That's a very interesting game.
Are you talking to me? I can't
Oh, I'm
go
talking to you,
against.
buddy.
I can't go against the Steelers. But if I'm a betting man, I probably would put which I am, but I would probably put my money on the Jets. But I mean, the Steelers are just such a hard team to bet against and to get bet for because you really don't know what Steeler team you're coming up with. Because I mean, if you look at the Jets last night, the backup running back, what's his name, Davis, ran all
Davis,
over that defense.
Mhm.
And the Bills really aren't a run heavy offense. So that kind of gave me a little bit of hope, but at the same time, Devontae Adams is coming back, and Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Like I said, this is gonna be a gauntlet. So this is gonna be the first game out of this whole entire season. We're gonna have 3 easy matchups for the rest of the season. So it's gonna be hard.
Scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you?
10,
Yeah,
And it's Sunday night. And it's
Yeah.
Sunday night. If it was like a 10 o'clock game, I'd be like, oh, I'm not nervous because people, but Friday, Sunday Night Lights after a beautiful Carrie Underwood introduction. I don't know, man. It's gonna be.
Yeah, y'all are cooked. Sorry.
What do you think wins the games?
Me, I think the Jets do. I mean, if Devontae is going to be out there, I love the Steelers defense. But I mean, I think they kind of scare me sometimes. I truly only think I played them on my fantasy team once this week or once this year. And I'm like going into every matchup, I'm like, man, I don't know how they're going to do. Surprisingly do all right. They get their sacks, they get the turnovers, but I think with just this kind of offense, it might be a bit different story. But I definitely like the Jets in this one.
I'm actually excited to see what's going to happen when we actually play a good offense. Like the Cowboys, I guess, were the best offense that we've faced all year, if you think about it. So now we're going to be playing Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we just kind of went over that whole team. So this is going to be maybe the best offense. Us, them, and the Ravens are going to be probably the best offenses that we face all year. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Chiefs on Christmas.
Yeah, but the Chiefs haven't been doing well on offense. You can't really consider them even the top 5 offenses in the league right now because they haven't been playing well. But Christmas time is the time when they start ramping it up. So I don't know.
I feel like the defensive backs for the Steelers really haven't been tested that much this year because you think about the Falcons game, Kirk was getting sacked like every play, and all these other offenses were not that good. I mean, you just said the Cowboys are the best offense, and you just saw them put 9 whole points up on the Detroit Lions. So.
Yeah. And you know what I just thought about too is that we really haven't played like a veteran quarterback. The only veteran quarterback we really played was Joe Flacco, and when he came in, he tore our defense up. So I'm talking myself to be super scared, but I don't know. Whatever, win or lose, I'm still a Steeler fan, I guess. But
yeah, I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah,
all right. I get it. I don't blame you guys, but I have to be loyal.
Let's do our hot take Tuesday. So this has been a reoccurring segment on our show. We give you some thoughts, not a week 6 reaction, but
my bad. I don't know why that started. God, I was being such a good show, and then I just had to mess it up. Here we go.
You muted yourself.
Well, because the damn dogs.
It's just a welcome back, man.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I started our Wednesday show muted. I was muted. That was funny. But let's get into the hot take Tuesday. We are doing this. It seems like we've been doing this every week. I think we have for the past 4 or 5 weeks. We're going to give you some thoughts, something that maybe we think is true, but a lot of other people don't think is very true, or something that is kind of universally agreed upon. Who knows? Let's go to Darian first. What is your hot take this Tuesday?
All right. For me, we're looking in the future. We're predicting here. You got my little crystal ball. I'm putting it to work since it's Halloween. And I see that the Browns and the Jags are going to be duking it out this season to get the number 1 overall pick in this upcoming year's draft. Ultimately, I think the Browns come out on top, being the absolute worst team in the NFL, and are going to select Cam Ward, number 1 overall.
Whew.
Yeah. Heat right there. And they're dishing Deshaun Watson out. They'll take that. They'll take the pay. They'll take the pay hit.
Do you think Deshaun Watson sits at all? Do you think that Jameis Winston plays this year?
A lot of people want Jameis to play. I think he should play at this point. because Deshaun has been historically bad right now. Like that offense can't do anything. You just sold your wide receiver one. We got Jerry Judy in at wide receiver one, which is what I said in I think last week's episode was Amari's gone. That's why you extended Jerry Judy to be that wide receiver one when he's gone. I mean, I guess Austin had the steal of the draft.
True.
We'll see, but at the end of the day, yeah, honestly, I think Jameis should start. You know, he's going to just sling the ball. You need something to ignite that offense and just get things moving. And then you also have Chubb coming back. I think that's the recipe that could potentially win you games and keep you from getting the number 1 overall pick. So, hindsight.
I
What were
saw
you gonna
this
say?
video that they said that the Browns are forcing Deshaun Watson to play, and because he's so bad, as justice, because the justice system is not giving him justice that he deserves. So the Browns are taking it into his own hands.
That's funny.
Was that from Barstools? Was that Cat? Big
Yeah.
Cat? Was that it or something? Yeah.
Mhm. That's so funny.
I feel like unless Deshaun gets hurt, we won't see Jameis this year just because
Yeah.
they're so hard-headed about this. And they're trapped. They're trapped with Deshaun. They're paying him so much money. We talked about this. I'm not sure if this was last week or the week before that when you were hearing him, but if they cut Deshaun next year, they take on a dead cap of $173 million. They're trapped. They're absolutely trapped with Deshaun Watson.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I was going to say, you just got to bite the bullet. I mean, think about what the Broncos have done. You know, you guys had to bite the bullet for Russ, but look, you guys are sitting pretty right now, you know.
That's a lot more money than what we are
I
paying.
know, but still, like, I don't know. Just get a bunch of draft picks, you know, that sort of thing.
I would just bench him.
Yeah.
Like
100%. But it depends on what you want. Do you want that first run, that first pick? You know what I mean? Like, or do you want? You should bench him for one game, see how he. The fact that he just ran out, I think that was last week. The fact that it was like 4th and he just walked off the field.
yeah, Stefanski was like, "What are you doing?" And he was just like,
"Yeah, like what?" After that, I would have been like, "I don't care how much money I'm paying you. Get the hell out of my offense." So I don't know. The Browns, I'm glad that they're not good being a Steeler fan, but I feel bad for them.
Gosh, they have had a tough history. But Nim, let's get on to your hot take.
So on the bright side, the Browns are going to be butt cheeks, but I think we kind of touched on it, and we've been talking about this team all episode. I think that the Jets are. What is this? Sorry. Oh snap! I don't know why this is working. Okay. I think that the Jets are going to win 10. They're currently 2-4 right now, but I still think that they're going to win 10 games. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Why is it saying I have no internet right now? It's weird. But I think that they're gonna go. They're still gonna win 10 games. Looking at their schedule, 3 out of the 11 games. 3 out of 11 teams that they play are have winning records. So, and that's the Texans, the Steelers, and the Bills. The Bills, they almost won. And then the Texans haven't really been doing well, and then I guess we'll see this upcoming week with the Steelers. And so that being said, plus they have Devontae, plus their defense is starting to get rolling. I think that the Jets are really going to go at 10, and they might even win the division.
Couldn't disagree with you more. But let's get into my hot take. So I think I'm starting to become an old man, honestly. Let's think about 2008, and it's your, Friday evening, and you're going to a movie theater date, or you're just going to the movie theater. Think about that experience. That shit's over. The movies suck now. I hate the movie theater. I went and saw Terrifier 3 on Friday evening. And for anyone that is like, what's Terrifier 3? So there's been 3 of these movies. It's about this serial clown killer guy. And it's like a slasher movie. It's like probably the goriest movie you'll ever watch. And he like kills people, like really bad, gross scenes. Like in the second movie, he like completely skins someone. It's like really, really gory stuff. So why I'm there, I don't know. Might be a little twisted in the brain, but and I enjoyed Terrifier 3. But anyways, to start the movie, we get in the theater, and packed theater, just completely sold out. So we're just all a bunch of freaks watching this movie. There's a guy that shows up in the clown costume, and I had my eyes on him the whole night. He was like in the very front row. I had my eyes on him the whole night because I was like, some weird shit's gonna happen. It's because of you. But anyways, we go up to our row, and there's this whole crowd, like every single seat is taken by teenagers and one mom. And we're supposed to be on the end. And we get there, and they're sitting in our seat, these kids. And we're like, hey, these are our seats. You guys need to all scoot down 2 seats. And they're like, no. I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
They just said no?
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean no?
Oh.
And they were like, they were like, well, like this is our seats, and like there's no letters on these seats. And I was like, I certainly think there are letters on these seats somewhere. I can't see them right now because it's dark in here. But I was like, I guarantee you those are our seats. You guys have to move down. And she was like, no. And I was like,
my
okay.
God. It was a
Okay.
girl?
So we just stood there for like 2 minutes. Yeah, it was a girl and some guy, but it was like a group of like 10 kids.
Oh, hell no.
And my God, her parents, whoever's parent was there, she came up to us and was like, oh, I think your seats are on the other end. And we were like, no, they're not. They're right here. These are our seats. And she's like, I really think that they're on the other end. And I look, and there's 2 people sitting at those end seats. I'm like, there's 2 people sitting there. And she's like, that's so weird. They're sitting in your seats. I'm like, they're not. These kids are. Like,
wait, the mom said that you have the wrong seats? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm crashing out, bro. I'm crashing out in that movie theater. I'm getting Homie who's dressed in the Terrifier outfit. I'm like, hey, yo, it's going to do some work.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then the whole movie, they're talking the entire time. I swear, every single movie I've been to, the past like 3 or 4 movies, everyone's talking. They have iPads out. They're playing ringtones. It's like the worst experience. I'm done with movie theaters.
Wait,
and
did
that's
they
my hot
move
take.
at least?
No, we went to the other end. We went to the other end, and those 2
True.
people got up and went to the seat or the row above us. And then I saw the letter. It was on the seat, like right behind their head.
Oh my God.
And I was like, this is ridiculous. I didn't know what to do. I was pretty angry.
Yeah.
Crash out, bro.
Oh my God.
Crash out.
But yeah, I swear, every time I go to a movie now, people just ruin it for me. So I'm done going to the movie theater. I hate it. That's my hot take.
It's these teen
Stay
poppers, man.
Stay indoors for movies now. Don't go anywhere else. Just wait for it to come out on streaming services, because you'll be disappointed at the movie theater. It's the worst.
Plus, in Harkins, you can get like those big bags of popcorn, so you're really not missing out on anything.
Yeah.
Like $30 for that shit too.
Yeah. That I would be so mad. Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine.
I hate it because
Behind the
like
scenes.
I used to love the movie theater. I used to think that was such like a like almost a therapeutic experience, like coming in there with like a soda and popcorn and just like chilling out. Like if you had a bunch of stuff going on, you had 2 hours in a dark room with a big screen and you just focus on that.
Mhm.
All these kids have ADHD now, so no one can do that anymore.
Yeah, I always fall asleep in the movies, so I wasn't really
Yeah,
a big
yeah,
fan.
dude. Bro,
Were
we
you?
were we saw either it was Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
I think it happened twice. So there's two accounts where Nimmer has fallen asleep in the most horrible timings. So Black Panther, I think it was like right after the explosion where his dad dies, or whatever, what movie that was, and it like gets real quiet, and it's like T'Challa like trying to find his dad, and it's got like the whole somber, melancholy music. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, he died!" This motherfucker right here, the loudest snore. Everyone in the theater was like, "I know damn well."
Oh, geez.
Bro, I don't know what it is. Even honestly, it's not even just the movie theaters. I don't know what it is with movies, but even on the couch, I'm just out like 10 minutes into the movies. But I just remember Josh waking me up and he's like, Nimmer, just wake up, wake up. It's like, just let me sleep. Just started went right back to sleep. Oh my god, I remember
Once
that.
you fall asleep in a movie theater, it is like the
Sleep?
best sleep. Though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
As long as you don't snore, like it's a great time.
That's so funny. I'm usually not a big snorer either, but I think like the way that my body was, I was just couldn't. I don't know. I don't know what I'm.
It's so loud.
I
And the
remember
people.
as a kid, I went to see Emperor's New Groove when it first came out with my dad.
Mhm.
Hey, evil Emperor, kiss, kiss, squeaker, squeak. Anyways, but we're watching the movie, and my dad, like 10 minutes in, like leans his head back and he's out. And like halfway through the movie, my dad can snore like a hound. So he starts snoring, and I'm like, Dad, wake up, Dad. And it, and it gets louder and louder, and he's like it
Oh
is,
my
it's
god!
ridiculously loud. And I couldn't wake him up. So I went like 2 rows behind him, and I
Just
just
left him there.
I left him there in the front row, and I just watched the movie by myself
He's
because
like,
I was
Zap is
afraid
let
like an
me
usher was going to
through.
come up. I was afraid an usher was going to come up to us, and I didn't want to be associated with
Oh
it.
my god, that is so
Tragic.
funny.
And I couldn't wake him up. He had a problem where like if he's fallen asleep when we were all younger, if he would fall asleep, he was like out. There was a time where he picked my sister up from her elementary school, and he fell asleep in the pickup line, and
Oh.
he held up the pickup line, and they couldn't wake him up. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. They could not wake him up.
It's funny, but it's not because I'm the exact same way. Bro, I have so many alarms. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I'm pretty similar. I mean, yeah. I'm laughing, but I know the feeling. It's crazy.
Let's do the Rage Cage,
All right.
our favorite topic.
Mm.
And our favorite graphic is back. That
Oh,
fire
yeah.
screen behind us.
Just fills me with rage. Just ready to go. Let loose.
Darren, why don't you kick us off? Give us your Rage Cage this Tuesday.
Oh man. This isn't one person. This is two. This is double the rage right here. First and foremost, we're gonna start with you, Dak, Dakota, Dakarooney. What are we doing out there, man? What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm not a Dallas fan, but I'm speaking for the entire state right now. We have no idea how your QB 14 on the year, QB 12, I think. I don't know how. You're garbage right now. 3 points. 3 fantasy points against the Lions. If we counted the receptions that the defense had, bro, you might have eclipsed 10 points because you threw that bitch right to Branch like he was your best wide receiver. He made CD look like a wide receiver 3 on this roster. You throwing dots straight to the defense, my boy. I've never seen so many overthrown balls straight to the dirt. How are you a starting QB in this league right now? You are an absolute joke. Come on, bro. You've proven to be somewhat good in years past. What are we doing? And it's not just your fault. We're going to put some blame over there for your boy CD because this man is jogging. I have never seen this man sprint this season. This dude, bro, I watched a video of a girl who rides the scooter, one of those electric scooters, faster than this man is running right now. You are supposed to be a top 3 wide receiver in this league. You're playing like bottom 28. You should be behind Pierre Garçon, and he's retired. That's how you're playing right now. I need you to step it up, be faster on your routes, so this man Dak can actually throw you the ball. Like, it's getting too much, guys. This offense, it's crazy. And you're the 2 best players on it. Step the hell up. And let me get some fantasy points while we're at it.
That was a great rage cage from you, Darren.
I love the energy.
Never, what do you got for us today?
All right, so for my rage cage, this isn't just a one-person fantasy. This has nothing to do with any of that. This is for a freaking, and I'm sorry for cussing because I was told that I cuss a lot. So, but this is rage cage, so mute your TVs because I'm gonna start cussing because these motherfucking Raiders don't know how to fucking run a team. The fact that they moved to Vegas, which I get, okay? Oakland is a piece of shit. I'm from there, okay? All right, I get it, all right? But the Raider fans are one of the most passionate fans, in Oakland especially. What are you going to do? You're going to pick them up and go to Vegas, which is cool. You want the money. I get it. More players want to go to Vegas than Oakland. I get that. But then you didn't think this through. You're never going to have a home game. How the fuck do you expect to win when you are on the road every single game? It just doesn't make sense. The fact Steeler fans travel well, so I'm not even going to talk about this week. But literally every other week, you have to do hard count on your home turf. How does that make sense? That's why Devontae left. That's why you haven't had a winning record in God knows how long. Because your franchise is ass, and I feel so bad for the fans. The Raiders are my second favorite team. That's why you guys can never hold a coach. That's why you guys can never hold a quarterback. The last quarterback that did really well for the Raiders was Rich Gannon. That was in 2000.
Preach.
What the fuck? You have the most passionate fans in the NFL, and I'm a Steeler fan. But you have the most passionate fans in the NFL, and you don't care about the fans at all. That is pathetic. Okay, now you can unmute your TV because I won't cuss anymore.
Well said.
So I gave these new NFL kickoff rules, whatever weeks, 6 weeks. Where are we at?
6, 7.
Going into
This
week
is the
7.
7th week.
I gave them 6 weeks. I hate the new kickoff rules. They're so terrible. The fact that you have to announce onside kicks, there are no more surprise onside kicks. I also hate that. The strategy is completely gone. You watch college football now, They have a better product because of the kickoff, and it's an embarrassment for the NFL. You watch the Oregon-Ohio State game that played Saturday night. There was a surprise kickoff or surprise onside kick in the game. You can't even do that in the NFL anymore. You have to announce it. It's so stupid. And it's supposed to make this safe. Everyone's returning in this kickoff. Like either they're kicking it out of bounds or they're kicking it really short and people are returning the kicks and running into collision. So it makes no sense to me. They need to go back to the old kickoff rules. This has been such a blunder of a rule change for the NFL. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The strategy's completely gone with kickoffs now. It's not even fun to watch anymore. Special teams. You ruin a lot of people's lives, a lot of people's jobs. Way to go, NFL. Let's change it back. All right. So that is.
I
I
love
feel
Rage
better.
Caves.
I feel better.
It's such a good segment, guys. Oh, I love this.
But that is our Rage Cage. That is our favorite segment probably each week. We get to air out all of our grievances and our disappointments to you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We are going to take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes for our fantasy section. Welcome back to the Do Not Disturb Football Podcast.
Freaking dogs, man. That's gonna be my next Rage Cage. There we go.
Oh, there he is. Welcome back. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just like, subscribe. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are now in the fantasy football portion of our show. That's why Nimmer's dog is so excited, because that's why you all watch this show, is for the fantasy football portion. We will start the fantasy football portion with revisiting the trades that happened today.
I'm so sorry.
You're right. Who is the better fantasy play for the rest of the season, Devontae Adams or Amari Cooper? Darian, I'll start with you.
That one's a tough one for me, but I think the outlier here and what's like kind of swaying me, and I think the dog may agree with me here, is I think the relationship that Aaron Rodgers has with Devontae, the experience that they had when they were at Green Bay together. I think they bring that back over to the Jets. It may take like a week or two, but I think once he's gelled into the offense, Rodgers is going to look to him, especially in the red zone. He's going to dot him up down there. He's going to be touchdown dependent and honestly come down with the touchdowns. So I think going forward, I think Devontae is going to be the better plug in fantasy.
What are your thoughts, Nim?
Mm.
I muted myself again.
Jeez.
Golly.
I'm blaming you. Damn it. Stupid. God damn it. Okay. So I was saying, Amari Cooper, sorry for the people on TikTok that are watching, all two of you, but I was saying that Amari Cooper is a better gonna be a better fantasy player than Devontae Adams because the Jets have more weapons around him, even the running game. I think that Breece Hall is way better than James Cook. So they're going to run the ball a little bit more. Plus, they have Lazard and Wilson. Amari Cooper really has nobody competing with him for the wide receiver one. Maybe Kincaid is probably going to be the next person in targets. So I think that Amari Cooper is going to get a lot more targets, which will reflect in receptions and in the red zone. Devontae Adams is going to probably outshine him in the red zone targets, but I think throughout the whole entire field, I think that Rodgers kind of likes to divvy it up and go to whoever's open or whoever is not double teamed or whatnot. So I think that Amari Cooper is going to do better in fantasy than Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I really like both your guys' answers. I really don't know which one to pick now. I think I'm gonna go with Amari, I guess. I think that the spark will be there fast with the Jets. I think that Devontae and Aaron Rodgers, that history, the rapport that they've built over the years, I think that is going to show really fast. But I do wonder with what Nimmer just said, if it starts kind of slow and then starts to build up, and then Josh Allen trusts him more than anybody else on the team.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the receivers that the Bills have, I like Keon Coleman, but he hasn't really shown a ton of promise so far. He's a rookie. He's still really young, so he's still working on becoming a better receiver. Mac Hollins has been on a bunch of teams. I like Shakur, but I kind of wonder what happens with this offense with Amari there. And I do remember a lot of times Josh Allen forcing it to Stephon Diggs, even in situations where Diggs really didn't need to have the ball. So I could see him, once he gains that rapport with Amari Cooper and starts to really trust him, maybe he'll look for Amari more times than not. And then that makes him the more valuable player than Devontae. And with the weapons that the Jets have, could be something that helps out Garrett Wilson. And Garrett Wilson he's probably not going to get those 21 targets that he had a couple weeks ago, but maybe he still gets, 8 to 11 targets at in some games. So, and
plus, I think it's going to depend on the defense. I think that there's going to be some defenses where Devontae Adams is going to excel, and I think there's going to be some defenses where Garrett Wilson is going to excel. And I think that Devontae Adams is not going to be as consistent as Amari Cooper. I think that there's going to be games where he's going to put up 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, but then there's also going to be games where he's going to go maybe 50 yards, 2-3 receptions. So I think it's going to be a lot more versatile than Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot cleaner looking offense. You won't really see Rodgers throw 55 balls or whatever it was he did 2 weeks ago against the Vikings. So, plus, I do kind of think this is going to help out Breece Hall a lot. I think if you're a Breece Hall owner, this is a good, Devin, I know you're watching. This is a good chance for you because I think the running is going to open up a lot because of those threats that they have on the outside.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do our waiver wire report. So week 6, there's still a ton of guys on the waiver wire right now. We're going to talk to you about who we think you should pick up. Nimmer, I'll start with you. Who do you think people should be knocking on the door for in the waiver wire?
All right. So I think the waiver wire, it's really just depending on what your bye week is. Devin said you're going to slide into my text trying to steal Hall from me.
Hey. I got ETN, my friend. What you want to do with him?
ETN.
Oh yeah, Hall for ETN. Yeah, okay.
I'll give you Bigsby and ETN. I'll give you the whole backfield.
Yeah, so it depends on who your team is. So if you have, I think it's like who's on bye weeks? The Cowboys,
Bears.
The Bears. Who else? I should know this. Anyway, if your team is, that's kind of who I would be targeting for wide receivers. I really like Gabe Davis, even though he dropped a couple touchdowns. I think with a bad team, you kind of have to. Trevor Lawrence is really looking for a wide receiver 1. So I think Gabe Davis is it. Demario Douglas is also another name you should look out for with Drake May starting. He's going to be looking for that wide receiver. He's the wide receiver 1. Trey Turner with Jacoby Myers being questionable and Devontae out. He might be the wide receiver 1. Huh? What
Trey
did I
Tucker.
say?
Turner.
Oh, Tucker. Sorry. Yeah, Trey Tucker. I think that he would be a good waiver wire add. Ray Davis, depending on how James Cook really is, but the way that Ray Davis played, I think that it might turn into a split backfield with James Cook, because James Cook does really good in the beginning of the game, but then at the end of the game, he's kind of nowhere to be found. And then I would also look out for Jonathan Taylor's injury, because I would look for Tyler Goodson over Trey Sermon if Jonathan Taylor's out again.
Darren, who are you looking for in the waiver wire tonight at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, it's 3:10. I'm awake at 3:10, baby, and I'm gonna pick up whoever who's out there. But yeah, Nim covered him. I like Demario Douglas. Like Drake May is gonna try to find a wide receiver 1. He's high on my waiver wire and priorities. Michael Wilson, I've been talking about him past 4 weeks now. He's steadily getting targets. He's still a stash. Same with Greg Dortch. I called it earlier. Noah Brown for the Commanders. I think he's going to have a pop-off week here soon. Could be this week against Carolina with one of the weaker secondaries. I think he posted 8 points 9.8 points this past week on 8 targets. So he's steadily increasing. That's actually double to what he's usually posting where he's hovered around 3 or 4, but he got 8 targets this past week. So I think Noah Brown is definitely a good stash for deeper leagues. Looking at running backs, this is where kind of the well is run dry. A lot of handcuffs have been taken. Bigsby's gone. Warren is still out there in our league, maybe worth a stash if he's out in yours. But I think one of the bigger ones are going to be both Cardinals running backs, DeMarcado and Trey Benson, depending on how James Conner is playing. If he gets hurt, you might want to handcuff him there. And then Garendo, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's the backup for Jordan Mason. So if he's out this week, try to get yourself Garendo off waivers this week. Sneaky ads, tight ends. Mark Andrews has played kind of decent in the past week or two. Maybe you put him back onto your team, throw him on, let him rot on your bench, see how he plays the next couple of weeks. If he's starting to produce, put him back into your starting lineups. Outside of that, I think the well's drying a little bit more since everyone's making those waiver wires. But those are the key priority ads that I have on my radar.
Yeah, we're really in the last couple weeks where you're going to grab someone that's going to make a difference in the waiver wire. You guys named pretty much all the guys that I'm looking at. The one guy I didn't hear, Panthers wide receiver Xavier Legette, he scored another touchdown this past weekend. I think he is getting a lot of attention from Andy Dalton. If you need a receiver, I'd go pick up Legette. If he's still there, definitely go grab Tyrone Tracy Jr. from the Giants. He has been performing really well. He had a really good game against the Bengals fantasy-wise. Those are 2 really good fantasy games for him in a row. I think even when Singletary gets back, I think Tyrone Tracy Jr. is going to have his hand in the offense. Someone I'm a little surprised is on waivers right now. He's owned by 50-ish% of people. Christian Watson from the Packers. I'd pick him up just because he's fast and has been one of the number one guys. They don't really have a number one guy, but Christian Watson has looked like probably the most number one guy of the Packers receivers before Jaden Reed got there. So I would take a look at Watson. I really think everyone should be paying attention to Jaylen Warren, especially with the situation going on. If they start Russ, I think Jaylen Warren's a must add because I think Russ is going to check it down to Warren a lot, and they're still using him quite a lot in that offense. Some guy that's going to fill in, but I don't know how successful it'll be, especially over time. Dearness Johnson from the Jaguars. He's probably just a filler. If you need someone for this upcoming matchup, he might be a good option, but I don't expect a whole lot from him. Darian's point on Mark Andrews, I would grab him. I mean, why not? If he's available in your league, he's been a top 10 tight end in fantasy for years, so I would go grab him. Dalton Schultz, he's another tight end that performed well in this past week with Nico Collins not there. I think he had 10 targets, so he looked pretty good for the Texans. Hunter Henry, he, along with Demario Douglas, looked like the bright spot in the offense for them. And David Njoku, if he's there, I'd grab him, especially with Amari gone. More balls might be coming towards Njoku now. Quarterbacks, I would say Geno. If he's still out there, go pick up Geno. He's super valuable. Rodgers, can't stand the guy, but I think he's going to be better now. Daniel Jones, can't believe I'm saying that, but he's turning into quite a valuable quarterback on the waiver wire right now. Some guys to keep an eye on. Rashad Bateman, he had another decent game. I don't really trust him. I wouldn't pick him up, but just keep an eye on him. If he keeps having these kind of games, you might want to pick him up. Another guy to keep an eye on, Juju Smith-Schuster. I'd pick him up just because he looks like one of the only options on that Chiefs offense right now. If he's there, I'd go grab him. And maybe, just maybe, Broncos Troy Franklin. He is starting to get into that offense a little bit more. He got a touchdown in the Chargers game. He could be turning into maybe the wide receiver 2 right behind Sutton in that offense. And Bo Nix and him played in college, so maybe he's someone that develops into some sneaky little player here soon. And Tyler Algier, I'd pick him up as well from the Falcons. He had a pretty good hand in the Panthers game and scored a touchdown. He seems to be a part of the offense. So if Bijan's hurt, Algier is going to be a big factor. That is our waiver wire report. So put your picks in now for that, and let's see who processes in the morning for you. Let's go on to the defense start of the week. Darren, who are you looking for the defense this week?
Yeah, this week, kind of a surprising defense. They've been ranked pretty low overall. I think they're currently 29th overall. But,
Sheesh.
yeah, it's kind of a stretch that I'm saying this, but I like the Bengals defense against Cleveland, especially now that their main wide receiver threat in Amari Cooper is gone. The cornerback for the Bengals, it was Cameron Taylor-Britt. He's pretty good as they come, and he's going to be going against Jerry Jeudy now, who is just an average guy. So, so I think the Bengals are a good streaming option in this one. The Browns offense just looks horrid. If Chubb is back full swing, maybe there's a little concern there, but when it comes to the passing offense, they're going to lock it down. I expect them to get at least one pick and a fumble recovery. So I think they'll probably hover around maybe like 12, 14 points is my guess.
Who is your defense, Nimmer?
My defense is the Buffalo Bills. I think that they're playing the Tennessee Titans, who we all know is a couple booty cheeks put together. They are ranked 31 in passing, 21 in scoring, 30 in third down conversion. And last week they played against the Colts, which was, like I said earlier, the most the closest game out of the weekend, and he only threw for 95 yards. So not too, Will Levis definitely doesn't really scare me that in that aspect, and especially if the Bills not shut down, but did pretty well against Aaron Rodgers, then they're gonna go up against Will Levis. He's not gonna know what really hit him. How the biggest fear I really have with the Bills defense though is the rushing. The Bills are ranked 23rd in rushing. Even yesterday, they let Breece Hall run around him. Not too much, but it was, kind of noticeable. But I think that the Bills are going to have the lead the majority of the game anyway, so I don't think that the Texans are really going to be running the ball that much. I think they're just going to be throwing it a lot, just trying to come back as much as possible. So that's my defense. Plus with Amari Cooper, I don't think it's like you kind of mentioned earlier, Drew. I don't think it's going to be like a quick fix type of thing where the connection's going to be that good. But I think with Amari Cooper, a good offense kind of reflects to the defense. They're going to hold the ball a lot. They're going to put up scores. They're going to make the teams really try to throw. And I like DeMar Hamlin and the secondary for the Bills. So I like the Bills this week.
Call me crazy, but I'm going with the defense that's going up against the Detroit Lions. I'm going with the Vikings this week. I know that the Lions are a very powerful offense that put up a lot of points, but I don't know. I just feel like Goff is going to struggle against this defense. If this defense made CJ Stroud look pedestrian, I think they can make Goff look pedestrian. If they made Aaron Rodgers look pedestrian, I think they can make Goff look pedestrian. So even Jordan Love struggled against this defense. So these are pretty big names. I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback, but I'd take CJ Stroud over Jared Goff any day. And I feel like this might be my bold prediction. If the Lions try to do any fake punt bullshit, the Vikings are going to be that one team that picks them off, takes it to the house, and laughs in their face because I think they'll be prepared for that. Ultimately, for this game, I think Detroit might win just because if they can run the ball on the Vikings, that should be what they stick with. But I have a weird feeling about this game, the Vikings and the Lions. I kind of wonder if the Vikings beat them handedly.
Really, I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think with most division matchups, well, I guess not really this year, but most division matchups with two really good teams, it's gonna be a low scoring game. So I'm not mad about that pick.
I like it.
Let's do on the rise. Woo.
1 second. You don't know what they're barking at. It's dark outside. You can't even see anybody. What the fuck? So stupid. And then one barks, and then the other one barks, and then the other one barks, and then it's just I love dogs.
Yeah. I have a dog that's like going completely blind now. She's diabetic, so we gave her insulin. As soon as the insulin started kicking in, she started losing her vision, and now she's pretty much completely blind. So it's nice because she can't see anymore, so she doesn't bark at anybody.
Oh,
And it keeps my other dog quiet because he only follows her lead.
dang. How old is she?
She is 14.
Oh, okay. So she's had a long life.
Yeah.
Good life.
That's cool.
At that.
Yeah.
Dang.
I love dogs though. They're funny.
Yeah.
So we got on the rise. These are players that we think are steadily climbing and could be someone pretty big here soon. I don't remember who I went with last time, but Nimmer, I'll start with you. Who is your player on the rise?
So we've been talking about Amari Cooper getting traded, Devontae Adams getting traded. So we're saying, oh, the Jets are going to be good, the Bills are going to be good, but we never really talk about the teams that they used to be on. So I think that with Amari Cooper out and Jerry Jeudy being an average person, I think I really like Njoku. Especially the way that the Titans have been playing. The tight ends have been playing. It's really hard to find a really good tight end. I don't think I guess Cole Kmet did really well this past week, but most of the tight ends throughout the whole entire season haven't really been doing well. So tight ends really have been slim picking. I think that if you have a tight end be the number one in that offense, that you really can't go wrong. And with Njoku, last game was his first game back. And his last game where he played a full game and he led the team in targets and catches. Trying to find my notes. Oh, yeah. And so I think that he's really going to be a person, if he's on the waiver wire, even if you have a good tight end, I probably would pick him up just to kind of feel how he's doing. And then I feel like he is pretty cheap right now if you want to trade for him, depending on who has him. Like, I know Darian, it's not going to be cheap. He's going to want, like, Breece Hall.
Yeah, I want somebody.
It's going to be like, oh, who do you want for Njoku? Breece Hall. Kyron Williams. DK Metcalf, that sort of thing. But I think he's a buy low right now, and I think that he's going to really outperform his projections.
I know Ricky needs a tight end. He's got Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, he definitely needs a tight end, but he would rather just cancel that. He'd rather put somebody on buy than trade. So
come hit my line, bub. I give it to you.
That would be the
Come
day.
hit my line.
Who do you have for your on the rise, Darian?
I said it in the beginning of the year. They might be an exciting team. I sure as hell am still on this guy. I like him a lot, and I think he's a viable streaming option. And that's Bo Nix.
Baby Bo Nix.
Come on, baby Bo Nix. I saw a little highlight earlier this morning from the Chargers game where he basically tucked it and ran. This dude was twitching on the field. My guy was just moving, cutting, and he gained a first down and then pointed at Derwin James. And I was like, all right, that's a bold move.
It's a bold move, buddy. It's a bold move.
Yeah, but you love to see it out of a young buck like him. But when it comes down to it, he's QB 14 on the year. He's the one that I thought Dak was. Somehow Dak is 12, but Bo Nix is 14. And currently, the past 2 weeks, he's posted 23 points against Vegas and then 20 points against the Chargers. And then he has New Orleans and then Carolina next 2 weeks. I really love the matchups against Carolina and then even against Baltimore, where we saw Jaden Daniels had a decent game against him. But I think that if Bo Nix can string it together, those 2 games could be those really breakout matchups going forward. So I would definitely use him as a streaming option, put him on your bench, because he definitely is on the rise and looking like a good NFL QB.
I agree. I think he's a value. I think both of these guys are very good, valuable pickups right now. My on the rise, and I think he is the most slam dunk waiver wire ad right now, Cole Kmet from the Bears. He has been someone I've been a fan of for a while. I've always kind of wanted him on my team. He's on the waiver wire in my league right now. That's who I'm aiming for. He scored 2 touchdowns this last game. I don't think that's an apparition. I think this is going to be a tight end that is going to make some noise in the fantasy football playoffs. I think Caleb Williams really likes him, and he is probably the number 1 threat outside of what should be DJ Moore, but really the receivers there hasn't been a guy that's come forward yet. I know Keenan Allen scored 2 touchdowns this past weekend, but I'm not expecting that to continue. I think Cole Kmet, he's currently the tight end too. That's why I'm shocked he's on the waiver wire in our league. I think he's going to be a very big player in the playoffs this year for fantasy, and I don't want to get burned by him. So if he's my tight end too, so be it.
I guess I'll have 3 tight ends.
But that is everything from us today. We hope you enjoyed the show. There was quite a bit of NFL news that happened today. It was like a early Christmas for us. We will have more for you tomorrow. We have quite a few things to talk about tomorrow, including that Jerry Jones interview that he had with the radio guy today. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was a pretty funny little interaction. Any thoughts from you guys before we get out of here, Nim?
No, let's just get past Wednesday and then back to football.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost there.
I'm keeping my eyes out for the Reddick trade. It kind of flew under the radar today, but the Jets said, hey, Hassan, you're free to seek a trade. So I want to see who makes a move. Could it be the Lions to, replace Hutchinson? I even heard talks that Crosby could be shipped out of Vegas. So
that would piss
me
off, honestly. If there's
That would be
anybody
such a
in the
stupid move.
NFL that is literally Raider through and through, it would be Max Crosby. And it would be freaking Al Davis. Where's that rage cage? 1 second. It'd be freaking Al Davis is the reason that players just don't want to play for the Raiders anymore. They have a pretty good head coach. I mean, he hasn't been doing shit recently, but all of a sudden, friggin' you're gonna just ship out any good player you have. It's just such bullshit. I'm so glad I'm not a complete Raider fan. Like, I would be slamming my head against the wall.
Hey,
I am. What was that?
I said we'll see though. I want to see if Crosby gets dished out.
If he goes to the
Hassan.
Lions, that would be the best fit ever. If he goes to the Lions, but I mean the Lions might as well do the Reddick trade for some draft picks too. The Jets need draft picks. I can see that happening.
I mean, the Raiders are trying to get that number 1 spot in the draft if they sell Crosby.
They're getting Cam Ward too, or Shador. I mean, they've already
Oh,
Al Davis was like, "Oh, you're already home." In that ugly ass bowl cut. Golly, man. That'll be my rage cage. It'll be like the freaking haircuts of the NFL.
And it's so sad because his dad was such a genius. His dad was like one of the best owners. Like he knew ball, but his son just doesn't. It's just son, yeah. Damn.
you're gonna have to fill me in on some of the games next week. I'm going to a wedding in Virginia. I am driving there. I don't.
Nice.
This is one of Sammy's friends, so I don't know any of these people.
Nice. Love those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. So I'm driving there Saturday. I think it's like a 7-hour drive, and then I'm driving back Sunday. So I'm gonna miss some of the games. I will be back for the night game though. That is the one game I will guarantee I will be watching.
I don't know,
Where's the wedding?
one-
Is that in Norfolk? Where's the wedding? Is it down in like Charlottesville or?
It's a great question.
I mean,
I don't-
7 hours is wicked.
It'll be my first time in Virginia.
It's a pretty bad place, so.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where it is. It might be in Charlottesville. I don't know.
Hey Darian, I got a question for you. This
Mhm.
is nothing to do with football. I just thought about this is the question I was like trying to break the ice with because it was like a Department of Transportation type of conference in Utah. So there's like Department of Transportation in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Texas, Arizona, just all over the United States, which is really cool
Mhm.
seeing the different cultures in the United States. But the icebreaker that I had was, do you consider Virginia a southern state? Like obviously not geographically, but like the southern culture, like a southern culture state.
Well, if you've ever been to Fredericksburg,
I've never been to Virginia, so that's a lie. I have been, but
No. So when it comes to like culture,
like that southern culture, you know what I mean? Like Mississippi, Alabama, like that southern culture type of state.
I would say there's pockets of it. So Northern Virginia, I think, is kind of a completely different state in like demographic than Fredericksburg. Like as soon as you cross the line, like you go down 95 south, like and you hit Fredericksburg, Stafford, Gainesville, you'll start seeing like Confederate flags. Like there's this barn that used to be there on 95 where they painted the entire top the rebel flag. So I mean, if you're talking about like that Southern culture, like pride, like there's pockets of it, but
I'm not talking about like racist stuff. I'm talking about like.
I mean, I'm just telling you how it is in some pockets. But Northern Virginia, like it's completely different. It's like everyone's a hustle and bustle, trying to get after it, make their money. A bunch of senators are up there. Like anybody in like the government is living in Virginia, like Ashburn, Arlington, stuff like that. But I would say it's half and half.
Okay, that's kind of what I got throughout this conference. They would say like Northern Virginia, no. Southern Virginia, yes. West Virginia, no, not really. They're more hillbilly than Southern. That's what people have been saying. So I don't know. They said Florida. I think they said north, like the whatever, like the what is it called? The Panhandle. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, they said that's Southern, and then everything else is not.
So. I can see that. I mean, you get more yuppies down like Miami, Tampa, major cities, but like Tallahassee, I would say that's Southern. Jacksonville, Southern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what people say. Anyway, I've been to the East Coast maybe like 2 or 3 times, so I don't know.
Remember we talked about at the end of the show on Wednesday where we would pick if we won the league. I didn't get to ask you, where would you pick?
What'd you guys say?
Darian said the Ozarks.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have an answer. I said like either Pennsylvania, West Virginia, some very like remote place.
Austin would like that because he's been flying across the country every time. Poor Austin, but I said Tahoe last year. I think that would be fun.
That would be fun.
I really like the whole lake atmosphere. So, but I want to also go somewhere where we've never been. I kind of want to try like a rent. Actually, I probably would do Michigan. I think going like the Michigan lakes. I think that would be really cool.
Fuck it. Let's go to Detroit, baby. One of those abandoned houses.
Yeah. Okay. South of 8 Mile.
8 Mile Detroit.
Yo.
That's funny. I think no, that would probably be my choice if I
Michigan
won right now.
We were talking about it last week. I think we're all in agreement. We want water.
Yeah, I think that was cool, especially since we're not really leaving the Airbnb because of the alcoholic beverages or the adult beverages we have. So it was kind of cool just to like go and swim and kind of just chill by the lake and stuff like that. So I don't know. I like that aspect.
Yep. Well, that is everything from us. We will have more for you tomorrow from Nimmer, Darian, and I. Have a good night.